What do you think of UBI? So UBI, Universal Basic Income, acknowledges a problem with our monetary system. It acknowledges that what we have right now is what we just saw with this bailout that just happened, with this stimulus package or relief package that just happened. The government gave us $1,200 or $500 for if we had any kids, and they gave trillions of dollars in bailouts to Wall Street, big businesses, banks, airlines, hotel chains, big companies. The rest of us got $1,200. They gave universal basic income to billionaires to make sure their bottom line wasn't affected. What UBI says is instead of doing that, and instead of having these really labyrinthian systems of welfare state, if instead we simply get rid of all of that and just give everyone a check every day, a check every month, or a direct payment or whatever every month, that should meet most of their basic needs, regardless of how much money they make. If they don't make a single penny, if they're the richest person in the country, doesn't matter. They get the same amount every single month. Is it better than the current system? I leave you to judge that. Here's the problem with UBI. It is inherently inflationary. It's every bit as inflationary as our current plan, but it's also inflationary in a much more exponential way, and here's why. If all of us are used to getting $1,000 a month, the price of everything is going to go up to meet that. The market is going to say, wait a second, everyone's got $1,000 more. The price goes up. The other reason the price goes up isn't just because providers drive up the cost of things. It's because in order to give you $1,000 a month, the Federal Reserve has to print out that money and distribute it out give it to the federal government to distribute it out. But that money didn't come out of nowhere. It has to be lent to the government. And so that has to be paid back with interest. So now you've got to pay that interest off. So that's driving up the cost right there. Also, anytime you inflate the monetary supply, you add more money to the money supply, but you don't add any additional value. It drives down the value of all of those Federal Reserve notes that you have in your pocket and in your wallet and in your bank account that you just got a $1,000 check out of, that you use to buy the goods and services you need to survive. Everything you can think of that you spend money on. Rent, your mortgage, your phone service, your food, your clothing, everything that you buy. And that's why the cost of living continuously goes up. Well, if you add UBI and you make it so that people are getting a fixed amount of money, which is going to make the cost of living snowball even higher, now the amount of money they have to give you goes up. So $1,000 becomes $1,500, becomes $2,000, becomes $3,000, becomes $5,000, becomes $10,000, and it goes on and on and on and on because it has to. Not because we're being greedy. It just has to match up with the cost of inflation. And you end up in a situation where you're not going to be able to keep up with it. The government's not going to be able to keep print. What, are they going to give everyone $1 billion a day? Because what happens is over time, as the cost of living goes up, naturally as a result of this ever expanding amount of money going into the money supply, you will end up with exponential increases to the cost of living. And we've seen this happen in places like Venezuela and Greece and Zimbabwe and the Weimar Republic in Germany, where bad inflationary policies make it so that the money's worthless. It's worth less than the cloth or paper it's printed on. And so while UBI may be better than other systems, in the long term, it actually creates a hyperinflationary system. The answer to that is sound money. Get the government out of the issuance of currency so that instead of just being able to print out endless reams of money for whatever political purposes they want and driving down the value of your money, instead allow private and competing providers to compete to provide you with the best, the most sound, the most valuable currency, because they have a vested interest in you using the currency, so they get a piece of it every time you use it. So now instead of them printing out endless reams of money, which they know will make you stop using their currency and start using someone else's, now they will have a vested interest in doing whatever they can to make that currency as valuable as possible. Imagine a situation in which the cost of living goes down over time, or at least doesn't go up. That's what we would have with sound money.